Hi there and welcome to Craft Jitsu's 7th and final part of how to embroider a wagtail. In this video we're going to be adding all the coloured stitches to the top that stop it looking less blocky. And here we're adding the detail of the feathers in white. Now we're going to add some dark grey to the tail, just to give a bit of contrast. Sorry about the camera work here, but you get there eventually. Sometimes it can feel like you're making the work look a bit spotty, but it does work, I assure you. Now we're going to add some dark grey to the little black sections, so at the very top of his head, the top of his wing and his chest. Oh, and there too. Now you can use this opportunity of adding the extra colours to cover up little tiny gaps that may have appeared. You might just be able to see one there. We're going to add some grey into this white section here to add a little bit of shadow and just to break up the white. I'm going to add some more grey into the tummy section, just so that the difference between this grey section and the white section isn't so strong. Before that, I'm going to correct this little bit on the head. This, I think, is the second deliberate mistake of this video. These feathers here should be pointing towards the top of the beak, not the bottom. So I'm just going to stitch over them and put them all back in the right place. And add a little bit of grey into his face. And I'm just adding a little bit of shine into his beak, just a small stitch. I'm going to add quite a lot of extra black stitches into this section here. One of the problems with using those Natesh threads is that they don't come in a huge variety of colours, so sometimes you just need to add in extra colours to help them out. And we're going to add some extra black into this grey section here. And now we're going to add in this little dark grey stripe just at the top of his chest. And some extra stitches here just to help it blend more nicely. We're going to add in the long white feather details. add in some white into the grey just to help it stop looking so blocky. Now I'm going to stitch on this piece of wire. It's important to do it right towards the end because it'll catch on every piece of thread and it'll be a complete pain in the behind. This is invisible thread, as you can see. It's quite hard to spot just so that it won't show up too much on the final embroidery. It's the edge of a piece of chicken wire. Now you can buy this in garden centres or little shops, but this is from my mother-in-law's garden. Thank you very much. And we just couch it down. Now we have to do this before we stitch the feet because the stitches will have to go over the top of this. Now it's time to stitch in the legs using dark grey. Now try and make them as thin as possible because otherwise he'll just end up looking like he's got really fat legs and it doesn't work. So back to everyone's favourite stem stitch. And just keep stitching right over the top of the wire. And now for the claws. We're going to do these in black. Now if you create a sort of V shape using 2 small stitches and then a 3rd stitch coming out of the bottom. Now sorry it cut away a bit early, but I guess you'll probably get to see what I mean from this picture here. And we're going to shade the legs in black. This is what I was talking about earlier. Every stitch gets stuck in the wire, so always best to try and put the wire on as last minute as you can. I just missed a little bit on his claw. doll. Now he's finished, we can think about framing him. This is just a 20 by 20 square canvas. And I'm going to cover the canvas in this green fabric using this staple gun. Now it's important to do one side and then the opposite side, so you start in the centre with one staple and then go over to the other side, making sure you keep it nice and taut. Now, a lot of people tell me I'm very patient to make the birds that I do, but actually I'm surprisingly impatient, and as you can see with the corners, there are various ways of doing these much more neatly than I've done them here, but you get the idea. Now the bird is about the same size as the canvas, and I really like the torn edges, so I'm just going to tear it to fit. Now the front's the right size, but the backing fabric needs a bit of a trim. And I'm going to tack the embroidery into place. I'm going to edge the embroidery with some long straight stitches. It just helps it look like it's meant to be there and hasn't just been plonked on the top. Now this can be a little bit tricky because these frames have a large wooden edge, so you just have to kind of push the needle through behind that, which is why I appear to be having a bit of difficulty here. See, you can see it just poking out there. But it really isn't as difficult as I'm making it look. Now because a lot of the stitches are behind the wooden frame, it makes tying off a little bit more difficult, so I just thought I'd quickly show you how I do it. It's time to get rid of the tacking threads. And now I'm going to stitch down the chicken wire with invisible thread, just like we did before. this video, please feel free to subscribe to our Craft Jitsu channel and feel free to share it as far as you like.